Hi guys, welcome to Piece of Code and welcome to this video. So basically, as you saw the title, this will be a new video in a new type of series that I'm going to start. So I really thank you guys for all the support that you have given on my cloud based videos like AWS and all those practice question series and all the theory videos. Obviously I'm still going to make that. I have a lot of ideas in mind, but on the side note, I'm also going to start this new series. So what is the idea behind this? It's pretty simple. So till now all the videos have helped the guys to crack the certification. So cracking the certification is one part, right? Now how do you use that certification? I mean, you have the certificate in your hand, but you still need to crack the interview and then you will get the job, right? Obviously just the certification is not enough, and I'm not going to just just to increase my views, I'm going to say that just do the certification and you'll get the job. Obviously the certification actually proves that that particular topic in depth and you have practical knowledge on it. That's a huge plus point in your resume, but still you have to give the interview and pass it. Now if you're going for a cloud based interview like a cloud developer or a cloud architect, I mean, you still have to face some other type of questions as well. It's not always going to be just what AWS services, what projects and all that, because anybody can just mug up all the services, AWS services, lot of the documentations, and just watch through a lot of videos and just answer those questions. No, even in the exam they don't test that thing. Instead what they test is how do you apply that thing right in right scenarios. I mean, if you watch my just two recent videos, they have been on this high level architectures, right? How do you use those particular AWS services as part of a bigger framework like a big data analytics pipeline or a highly available architecture. Those are high level architectures. Now questions will also be on some design patterns or low level architectures which needs a little bit of coding. I mean, if you know any language, C, C++, Java or Python or whatever, you will be able to understand these concepts. So obviously you need this. I mean, if you say in an interview that I'm a cloud developer but I don't know any programming language and I don't know any design patterns, they will straight away reject you, right? It doesn't make any sense. So yeah, so design patterns, basically it's LLD, which is low level design. I'm also going to continue the high level architectures, what I've been doing like the last two videos. If you see, I'm going to continue this low level design, and obviously all the certification videos are still going to come. I'm not going to stop that, so don't worry about it. But yeah, let's focus on this video. So what is a design pattern? First of all, let's try to understand that. Now as I've told you, right, if you know about a service, for example Amazon EC2, right, you know how it works, how to create an instance, right? What are the types of instance, I mean, how to deploy the instance, how to terminate the instance, all those things you know. But how do you apply that in a system? That matters. That is known as a design, because first you design the system and then you deploy it with all your app code and everything. But this is a low level design, right? It's basically in a lower level, I mean in the coding level, I would say, not on the high level, which is basically the entire framework. But the concept is just the same. Design pattern is nothing but you write the code in a efficient way, and create a system which will deliver you the maximum output. I mean, let me give an example. You can create an app. For example, you are using JavaScript, right? You can create an app. You can say app.js and it will contain the code of your entire app. I mean, I don't know, 1 lakh lines of code, and still your app will function as it is. On the other hand, you can have different components of your app I mean, you can have, for example, whatever language you use, you can have a folder like this, and you will have a component, I don't know, login component, and under the login component you will have login.js, and then you have a home component, and inside the home component you have home.js, and I mean, like that, like that. I mean, this is also your app, this is also your app, but here you have only one file, but here you have, you know, you have divided it in a logical, you have done a logical separation of those things, and you have created you know, logical division of your application, such that whenever I see like some code, I want to go through some kind of a module of your application, I will just go to the particular component folder and I'll get that code. And this is also efficient, obviously, on the compiler. So this is in you know, general terms we say as spaghetti code, and this is, you know, more efficient code. And if you are using Java, obviously you will have your classes, right? You will have for example, you are designing some kind of you know, vehicle, a motorbike or something known as a car. You will have a vehicle folder, inside that you will have a car folder, and then inside the same you will have a, I don't know, a bike folder, and inside those folders you will have respective classes. And people who know Java, this is kind of a inheritance framework that you can use, inheritance type of technique that you can use to structure your classes. Make sense? So this is just an example, right? This is how you can write code. There are different types of writing code, right? I mean, you are making the main point of view of learning design patterns is to decouple the system, or make the system, you know, make the modules of the system independent of each other, so that whenever you need to try something new, it's very efficient, it's not tightly coupled, and it's very easy to create something like that. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So I can now say that you understand design patterns, right? You just design a particular thing, you just design a system in which, you know, it becomes efficient, and you write efficient code. Okay, that, I hope that makes sense, right? Now let's move on to types of design patterns. Now obviously I mean, there are certain theory that you need to learn, there are certain aspects of design pattern that you need to learn. Sometimes what happens is that as developers, we try to think of something, and without even knowing, we apply a design pattern, and then when you learn about it, right, you say, okay, I have applied it in my particular day-to-day life, but this is a type of a design pattern. Because every time whenever you're writing code, you are thinking that, okay, how can I make this code you know, more efficient, and just what is the word, unknowingly you apply a design pattern. That's a different thing. Anyways, so when we talk about design patterns, we basically have three types of design patterns. One is known as a creational design pattern, creational DP. I'm just not going to write design patterns completely, I'm just going to stick with DP. Then we have something known as structural design patterns, and the third one that we have is behavioral, BHAVIORA. I hope that spelling is correct, but I don't care. Creational design patterns, structural design patterns, and behavioral design patterns. Let us try to understand what these three things do. Why do we have these three classifications of the thing, right? Now let us try to understand this in a, you know, pretty easier way. For example, you have to construct a car, right? Now to construct a car, let us write it down. So you need to construct a car. You can also, if you are, you know about the classes and object framework, you can consider this car as an object. I mean, how do you create this car as an object? Now what do you need? Just in a real life scenario, you need tires, you need steering, right? You need brakes, and you need windshields, and so on and so on. So you need all these things to create a car, right? Just focus on the word create. When you are creating something, so this is also design, right? This is the design of a car and you are creating something, right? This is known as a creational design pattern. Simple as that. If your structure, that what you want to do is focused on creating something, you use a creational design pattern. Maybe you want to construct an object based on certain inputs, right? Or you want something related to creation, you'll use a creational design pattern. Keep that in mind. Second thing is structural design pattern. Now you have created objects, but you need those objects to work with each other. It's very simple example I will say. First you construct a car, second you construct an engine. See, both are different things, right? Let's understand in this way. To construct an engine you need something, right? You need I don't know, I am not a mechanical engineer, but I'll say it needs bolts. Yeah, it sounds dumb, but whatever. I need some other parts, right? And I need some other I don't know what else do we need. Maybe I don't know, I'll sound dumb, so I'm just gonna write other parts, right? So see, this can be a creational design pattern on its own. This can be an object, and this engine can also be an object. So you created a car using a design pattern, and you created an engine using a design pattern, right? Now these are examples of creational design patterns. Now obviously for the car to run, right, it needs an engine. Now if you are accustomed with Java, or you have watched my Java videos, you would see that there is something known as a is a relationship and a has a relationship. Pretty cool, right? Pretty cool. Now if you think it in a way, a car has an engine. See, I'm not talking about any objects or any inheritance concept or anything. I'm just talking about normal English language, normal grammar, whatever. So car has an engine. So you need to associate these two objects in a way such that these two objects work with each other. You can use any kind of structural design pattern for that. You create a structure so that multiple objects maybe can work with each other even if they are incompatible. Now just by talking about this, I'm talking about a certain type of design pattern which is known as an adapter design pattern, which is used for incompatible object types. But that is for later discussion. We will cover that in another video. But this is what a structural pattern is. You need to work with the objects. The objects need to work with each other to function. In this way, car needs an engine to work. They are both incompatible objects, because a car is not an engine or an engine is not a car. So there is no is a relationship between them, but there is a has a relationship between them. That is making sense? So that is known as a structural design pattern. Coming to behavioral design pattern. Behave, it's a simple term. Behave. You need to act on some behavior. Now just take the car as an example. When you press the brakes on a car, what happens? The car stops, right? So there is some mechanism which is getting triggered. Just see this word triggered on the press of the particular brake lever, right, or the brake pedal. So what happens over here? There is something that is listening to, or you would say that observing this particular, it's just mechanical, but just try to picture it in that way, that there is some mechanism which is observing that brake pedal. Whenever you press on that brake pedal, something happens, and that is known as a observation, right? Based on an observation of a behavior. Now the behavior is what? You press the brake. When you press the brake, that is a behavior. and based on that behavior something is listening to it and responding accordingly. That is known as a behavioral design pattern. And if you are thinking that okay, is SQS or SNS, that is a AWS service, is SQS or SNS based on a behavioral design pattern? I would say yes. And I'm also going to I'm going to give you a homework. Think which design pattern, behavioral design pattern, SQS and SNS is based on. It's for homework for you. Please do it. Alright, so that's all about the design patterns, types of design patterns. Let us list down the different design patterns in each of these things, and we are going to cover that in our later videos. Okay, so I'm just going to remove all these things, and let us first list down the design patterns which are present in Creational. So the first one is factory design pattern. It's a very common and very popular design pattern. Then comes the what was that, abstract factory. Yes, abstract factory, DP. Then comes the singleton. Yes, correct, singleton DP or singleton design pattern. These are all creational design patterns. I mean, you would use these design patterns to create a particular object. Right? It's going to be very fun, so just stay tuned for the other videos. I'm going to post these videos very frequently. Second thing is prototype design pattern, and the fifth one is I would say builder DP. Great. There might be some other structural design patterns also, but these are very common and generally asked in the interviews, so we're going to cover these 5 types in creational design patterns. Correct? Okay, let's now list down the structural design patterns. So the first one is very easy one, that is adapter DP or adapter design pattern. Second one is I would say decorator design pattern. Third one is facade or facade or whatever. I think it's called as facade design pattern. Fourth one is I would say proxy design pattern, and fifth one is flyweight design pattern. Flyweight, yeah, that is correct. Flyweight design pattern. Cool. Now let us list down the behavioral design patterns, right? So behavioral design patterns are I would say very there's actually a lot of behavioral design patterns. So if I think about it, the very common design pattern is, I would say, observer design pattern. Then we have chain of responsibility. Pardon my handwriting, it's very bad, but just. Then we have what do we have other things? Let me think. Chain of responsibility. Then we have, I think, strategy design pattern. Yes, this is also important. Strategy design pattern. Fourth one is what we are going to cover again? Interpreter. Yes, correct. Interpreter design pattern. And the fifth one and fifth important design pattern that we are going to cover in this is that mediator design pattern. Mediator design pattern. Okay, so these are so if you list down, I have listed down 5 important design patterns in each section of the types of design pattern. One is the creational design pattern, we have 5. Structural, we are going to cover 5, and in behavioral we are going to cover 5. Total 15 types of design patterns we are going to cover. So in approximately there will be a lot of stuff to cover, and it will be fun. Yep, so that's all about this video, guys. This was just an introduction about this video series, and a little bit about design patterns, and yeah. And also, yes, in my next video probably I'll release something related to developer associate, AWS developer associate. So stay tuned for that as well, and stay tuned for the next video in this series as well. Till then, have a nice day. Take care. Bye bye. Sometimes I forget what I have to say at the end. So yeah. Anyways, bye.